just don't. There we go, guys. We are going live. Guys, this is the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. We are going live right now on YouTube to preview the World Series, which, by the way, includes your Texas Rangers. We're going to go back, though, and talk about the ALCS, where and probably poke at the Astros a little bit, or I will. You're a professional. You are a professional journalist. Hang on here, guys. You gotta bear with me.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we are just here. Just a second.
Sounds good though.
Does sound good. I know.
Solid.
There we go, right there. Sorry, guys, we get the extra feed there, so we don't want to do that. Okay, before we get into the World Series, your Texas Rangers are going to be taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, 2 wild card teams.
Yeah,
but the ALCS was classic.
It was, and anytime you can go 7 games, and I think that qualifies a series for classic status. And it was a strange one because no home team won a game.
Nope.
But you saw a lot of tight games. Really, all the games at Houston. Well, the first 3 games at Houston were tight.
Right.
1, 2, and 6. Game 5 was the heartbreaker for the Rangers, and had the benches clearing deal with Brian Abreu and Adolis Garcia. And,
right.
And when people, I think when the Rangers lost that game, when Jose Altuve hit that home run off of Jose Leclerc in the 9th inning,
right.
I think a lot of people left the Rangers for dead. And I think that if we're being honest with ourselves, John, we might have felt that a little bit. And
yeah,
but you did tweet out the fact that the home team hadn't won yet.
Right.
And the Astros were a bad home team. They were below 500. They're 39-42, which just doesn't make any sense. I mean, in that ballpark, the way it's built, you would think that, and with that lineup, you'd think that they'd just be popping home runs out of there all the time. But it's not. It wasn't the same pitching staff that they've had in the past. And Framber Valdez was up and down, and especially in the second half.
And both starts against the Rangers, he was not good.
He wasn't, and he was definitely better in the second one, but not good enough. But anyway, it was a great series. It obviously came out with the right outcome for Rangers fans, and really, I think baseball fans around the globe are celebrating that the Astros have been eliminated, because the Astros are a reviled franchise for their cheating, or their just kind of aloof attitude toward it, and denial, and acting like it didn't have affect the outcome. Well, of course it did, but and that was also their 7th straight ALCS, and I think people get tired of seeing
the same team,
and
if they didn't if there wasn't a cheating scandal, though, they would just be sick of seeing them in there.
Yeah,
they wouldn't hate them.
Right.
They would just be, let's see someone new. But the hate for the Astros is real.
It is.
A lot of people were pulling for the Rangers. We felt it as people that cover them. There were a lot of people that were not Ranger fans that wanted the Astros.
Well, and still, I think the way they, I don't want to say play, but hitting batters.
Yeah,
the Astros do that.
Yes.
And that's frowned upon. I think generally in the game, the players are ever since the Jose Bautista bat flip against the Rangers in 2015, that's really, has kind of galvanized, old school versus new school. These are players a lot of times who are from Latin American countries who, if you've ever seen a winter ball game, they go crazy down there.
They bat flip. In Asia, in the Pacific Rim, they're huge bat flippers there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's okay. You can tell though when somebody doesn't like it, and it's generally in the case of the Astros. And you say you let the players patrol the game and all that stuff. There's too much on the line. If Brian Abreu got suspended and people are upset that he was suspended in the first place and this, that, and the other, and the decision was pushed back to, it was upheld, but a suspension will be served at the beginning of next season. And people are like, oh, well, it's for the fairness of the game and, the integrity of the game. Well, if he hadn't thrown at Adolis Garcia,
It wouldn't even be a question.
and the integrity of the game put that in jeopardy there, he wouldn't be in that situation. And then look, what if Adolis Garcia had been injured
Sure.
and couldn't have played?
He aimed at his ribs.
Would that have been fair?
Right.
So the fairness thing is a bunch of crap. They weren't going to stop the World Series until he got healthy, right?
Right.
So, anyway, that's a tangent. The fact is, the Astros are on the beach or the golf course somewhere, and the Rangers are playing.
And Dusty Baker retired.
He did retire. Apparently, that was going to happen. He knew before the season he was going to retire, so the Rangers didn't put him out to pasture. But
do you think Dusty ordered him to hit him?
I don't know.
Abreu was a pretty quiet kid, but he throws 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, their catcher's a pest.
Yes,
Maldonado.
Maldonado. Yeah.
That might have been. He might have. Adolis Garcia didn't go after the pitcher; he went after the catcher.
Yep.
And so
Sure did.
that tells you what the Rangers think about that.
Same Martin Maldonado who had words with Marcus Semien
right
earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Apparently he chirps back there, and did people notice that this was brought up during that entire series? Whenever Marcus Semien comes up to bat the very first time, he says hello to everyone. Says hello to the umpire. Says hello, and he said that Maldonado refused to respond to him, wouldn't acknowledge him or do that. So there's some bad blood there. That's great for this rivalry, by the way. I love that there's bad blood.
Yeah.
The Yankees, Red Sox have always had the bad blood.
Sure.
So this is great to have bad blood in this. And right now for Astros fans, the best team in the state of Texas is the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, that's true. And
there's no other way to say
well,
that.
and you wonder if next year has to play itself out. Did the torch just get passed to the Rangers? The Astros are still going to be good.
Sure.
They still got those guys under
They
contract.
got some guys that are hurt are coming back.
Very good players. Kyle Tucker's not going to stink like he did in the postseason.
Boy, good.
It's still a good team. They don't have a ton of depth in their farm system, and
that's
kind of where you run out of juice. It really is. You can look at the Yankees and their dynasty, and you can look at the Rangers in 15 and 16 now, and then after that they didn't have much in the farm system. So it's a big deal, but the Rangers aren't going anywhere.
No, they're not. They're here to stay. They've got injured guys coming back also. Not just in the big leagues. Obviously Jacob deGrom is somebody that they look to have back after the All-Star break next year, probably maybe a little later than that, but still that's your trade deadline acquisition, him coming back.
Yeah.
And Jacob deGrom at 100% and still trying to find it is way better than anything they're going to get the trade deadline.
Yeah. The thing that everybody says always affects guys coming back from Tommy John the most is their command, but nobody in baseball has better command than Jacob deGrom.
Right. So
if his command is just a little bit off, it's still going to be really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting way down the road. We got 7 games ahead of us here that we got to
absolutely. And so now we look forward to the Astros. Good riddance. We'll see you next year. I have to poke at you. We've been going back and forth. Me and the Astro fans have been going back and forth. One of them called me a big loser. So that was great.
All right.
And I love that stuff. But now the actual losers were the Astros, who are no longer in this, and the Rangers are playing in the World Series.
They are.
And hey, you know what happened in the American League sort of happened in the National League, because I think we all thought Philadelphia was the team that was going to come out of the NLCS, because the Diamondbacks had to go to Philly and win 2 to bring that thing home. And by God, they did it.
They did. And, they're
hot right now. I know the Rangers are hot, but they are hot.
Yeah. They have, first of all, hats off to both franchises for what they've done in the last 2 years, able to overcome 100 lost seasons in 21. And the Diamondbacks were awful. The Rangers were bad, but they won 5 more games than the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
And then last year they weren't good, but you could see kind of different. They do it different ways. You know, the Rangers spent some money,
Right.
and the Diamondbacks did not. But they had some players who developed. They acquired some guys who have stuck around, and you know, you can kind of look at their team right now, and you know, these guys are homegrown. This was a good trade. You know, kind of under the radar deal. I mean, their trade at the deadline this year for their closer Paul Sewald with Seattle. What a deal for them, you know. And
He closed that game out.
pretty heady stuff by their front office. So good for them.
They have a good farm system.
Yeah, and the Rangers have a good farm system
Yep.
too, and but a little bit bigger budget, spent some money, and here we are. And yeah, the Diamondbacks are young, they're pesky, they can beat you in a lot of different ways.
They're fast. They do a lot on the
they
bases.
do run. Their pitchers, their starting pitchers have 4 and 5 pitches. You know, Gallen and Merrill Kelly are tough. It's kind of a question after that, but it's a question for the Rangers. Well, it's a question for the Rangers after Evaldi and Montgomery. With Scherzer still not quite know what to expect yet from him. I would suspect that he's going to still get 2 starts in the series if it goes to the if necessary games, or to 6 or 7. And Bruce Bochy hasn't named a game 2 starter yet. We assume it's going to be Montgomery, but just kind of watching what he did yesterday during the workout, it looked like a guy who was getting ready for a start in game 2. But he was all, you know, he pitched 2 1/3 innings in game 7 on Monday on 2 days rest. And, you know, after the 5th, Mike Maddox told me that Montgomery came in and said, "That's it, I'm done." You know, he didn't have anything left. So there might be a little concern about how fresh he is, and that might be why the announcement's been delayed. But you know, Scherzer also pitched that day. Didn't throw a ton of pitches. So I would think that either one of those guys could start game 2, but I'd be really surprised if it wasn't Montgomery. But
Right.
Again, they want
So
they
he
want
came
him
at the game when he came in relief.
Yeah.
He came back in and said, "I'm done."
Yeah, after the 5th inning.
Well, he had a bullpen, and he said he told him, "I'm not throwing my bullpen today.
Yeah, but still he
right."
had
He exceeded what he was going to do. He was gassed.
expended himself.
Yeah, he was gassed, and it was so important. He was so good.
Yeah,
he came in 2 1/3 or 2 2.
It was 2 1/3. Got the last out of the 3rd, which was big. With a runner at 3rd, is Michael Brantley. And you know, Michael Brantley had 2 of the most pivotal at bats in the game, because Scherzer made a really big pitch in the 1st inning, getting that double play grounder. That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brantley had a guy at 3rd with 2 outs there in the 3rd, and Montgomery got out of it. So, but anyway, Evaldi, big game guy. Montgomery is getting that big game reputation based on this. He came in where the Yankees hadn't trusted him in these big games, and obviously he's proven them wrong. And you know, he made 10 million this year. He's going to be a free agent. He's looking at a nice hefty raise, and I wonder if the Rangers will pursue him, which I think they should. And then if it's important for him to be with Mike Maddox.
Yeah.
And if so, then maybe that's worth knocking off $4 or $5 million off the final deal.
The taxes in Texas too are
Yeah.
they do play a little bit depending on what's there. Hey, I got a couple of Ryan has got a couple questions here.
Okay.
I'm looking at here. Is Scherzer's cut doing okay? Yeah, I think you just talked about that.
Yeah. He threw his bullpen Wednesday, and we had talked to him about it, and he's like, yeah, it's in a weird spot. It's like right here. So the seams got him. But it seems like it's more on top of the finger, but he's able to pitch with the Band-Aid on. He said the pain's not a deal. He is concerned about it breaking open, or he was, like, remember when Trevor Bauer got his hand on the model airplane or whatever it was, and went out, was pitching, and was dripping blood. And then Scherzer like just walked by me and showed it to me.
Yeah.
And it looked, I don't know. It looked like a big wart, but I think he's going to be fine. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I think that he was better in game 7 than he had been in game 3. I think that had Montgomery not been available at that time, that Scherzer probably finishes that inning and starts the fourth. So I think that Scherzer's not too far off.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Right now, I think he can go the pitches. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's more of his slider. He lives and dies by that slider. He's got 3 or 4 pitches, but that slider, when it's not working, has been kind of his, what's
Yeah.
hurting. So he's also asking about Evaldi. Does Evaldi had a team? Evaldi doesn't have a team option. He's signed through next year.
Yeah,
He
the,
signed
the,
a
op-
2
the
year.
option is after next year.
Okay, so he's got a 2-year deal.
And it's a weird deal. It's weird how the deal is constructed, but I think he's definitely back next year. Club options for next year are Leclerc, who's now,
Might get it.
yeah, it's a little over 6.25, I think. And then Andrew Heaney has a player's option. So it's up to him what he wants to do. If you look at the starting pitching market, where does he fit in? He threw 130 or 140 innings this year. He might be able to make some money, some more money next year if he opts out, but there's no guarantees there. I think he's 12.5 or 13 million for next year. So, you would have Evaldi, Scherzer, Gray, Heaney,
If he's back, if he
if he returns. So would you
we also have Dunning.
You have Dunning. Do you resign Montgomery at that point?
Yes.
Do you try to trade one of these guys? Do you
You've got Bradford.
yeah, Bradford, he
He's
might
coming in.
but then when DeGrom comes back, it seems like one of these guys is gonna one of those guys will end
gonna
up
be
back in
relegated
the
back.
role that they're in now.
Right. Kind of that long relief kind of piggyback situation.
Yeah.
Dunning's an unsung hero. That unsung hero. That guy's gone back and forth.
Yeah.
He's been amazing
I'm
all year.
a little surprised he hasn't pitched more this postseason, but
I think he would have had they not had Montgomery to come back in, and the lefties that with Alvarez. That's what I really think.
yeah.
Montgomery just stifled Alvarez.
Unbelievable.
It was
Yeah,
great.
it
The
was-
one person that stifled him.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm calling on Houston to go ahead and trade him to the National League for anything. I don't care. He is that guy. I call it sports hate when you hate a guy for another team that beats your team, but you have respect for the guy.
Yeah.
He's very quiet. He's not a mouthy
He's a-
show off
yeah,
guy.
he's a
He
man.
just kills the freaking Rangers.
He's a menace. Yeah.
He's a
I mean,
menace.
he kills everybody.
Altuve also,
Yeah.
who just is a menace.
Right.
A nice guy, but good God, he kills the Rangers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so back to this series.
What
Yeah.
do you think?
The Rangers need to win at home.
Right.
They have 4 of them. It'd be nice if they won a couple.
Jeff Passan said something funny. I guess he's been traveling the whole time, but he said, I root for the team that wins game 1 because
Yeah.
he wants it to end quick. I guess he's been
Yeah.
traveling all the time.
Well, yeah, those national guys, and then once the World Series ends, the GM meetings are the next week, and so they don't, they want to at least go home for a little while. But
before they have to go to the gym.
yeah, I really don't have a feel for this one. I haven't had a feel all postseason. I take that back. I felt good about the Rangers against the Orioles. I thought the Orioles were too young.
Right.
I thought that they just lacked a bunch of experience, and you can look at the Diamondbacks and say the same thing. But they're hot. They've been playing the Orioles have been off. And we saw how that played out for the higher seeds. The Astros were the only one to advance who got a bye. So I think the Rangers are the better team on paper. Across the board offensively. If you look at how Evaldi and Montgomery have pitched compared to Gallen and Kelly this postseason, the advantage goes to the Rangers, I think. If
bullpen probably goes to them.
Yeah.
Although Leclerc's been good. Has been
But,
really
I mean,
good.
the deal is if the Rangers get to the 7th inning with the lead, they've been hard to beat.
Yep.
And
That's true.
If
Well, they had a comparison the other day of the lineup, and I thought this was interesting. So you went around the lineup, you go third base, the advantage was, they said, to the Rangers. Shortstop, obviously Seager. Now, they went with Marte
Ketel Marte, yeah,
over there. And at first base, they
went with Walker over low.
oh,
I think that Marte obviously is not a better player than Marcus Simeon, but he's better right now.
He's just hot.
Yeah, he's got
been leading off
he's
in
got a
the-
long hitting streak and
Right.
and whatnot. So he's hot right now. And he is a good player. I'm not
Right.
saying he's bad. He's a good player.
Where they had the entire outfield was the Rangers.
Yeah.
They had Carter, Tavares, and Adolis.
And DH was Rangers too.
Yeah, they had the DH at Rangers too.
So yeah, so on paper it's like, hey, the Rangers should really dominate this series.
But this team went through everybody in the National League and took them out. So
Yeah,
I don't
well-
care what you say on paper.
Well, and the Rangers
Did the same thing.
have been the roller coaster this year. I mean, they've been doing awfully darn well in the postseason, and the Bruce Bochy factor, it's legit, man. I wrote about that today at Rangers Today, which is $5.99 a month or $60 for the year to read that story and all the other ones that are for full access members. A growing number, so we appreciate you guys. But what is his magic formula? And he's of course like, I don't do anything. It's like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
He keeps it cool. The way his demeanor, I think, might be his number one asset. Of course, he has you have to have good teams to win World Series, and he does. But and he has had. But just he makes the moves. Nobody questions them. They're decisive. They're usually right. So it's a pretty good story. I'd go read it for
$5.99.
$5.99, and then you get everything that we've written this month. We're going to be writing the rest of October and into November,
Right.
into the off season, which is going to be huge, and it's going to start quick. The
Yep.
off season, as soon as the World Series is over, that's when free agency begins. Or that's when everybody becomes free agents, and then you have the 5 days after the World Series to re-sign your own guys.
Right.
And the Rangers have been through this before a dozen years ago, but it's like they don't get to rest.
Yeah.
And they're already working on it. Obviously, they
Front
have
office
guys
guy.
who are looking ahead and
Yep.
Making contact and everything. But there will be no rest for the Rangers
Front office at
front
all.
office this offseason.
The players will take some time off, and then they're going to
Yeah,
get
they'll take a little more time off. Like the pitchers won't start throwing until a little bit later than they have because
because they've had a
of
long
all the
season.
extra innings and pitches they've thrown this month. Hitters, they can start whenever they want.
Guys, I see a lot of your questions here.
All right, let's have them.
Yeah, one of them. Do you think Carter would get like a Michael Harris type extension?
That's a good.
He's not going to next year, guys.
I don't know.
He's going to come up next year and play a full season as a rookie.
I don't know. I mean, look, the Braves model has been great.
Yeah, no,
You sign these guys at value. So, the Rangers tried to do it with Rougned Odor and it blew up on them. But you look at what the Braves have done.
yeah, but
with all those
Rougned
guys.
Odor does not have the patience.
Right. No,
of
I'm
this
just saying.
guy.
I'm just saying as an example.
Yeah,
The Rangers tried to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if. I mean, the Rangers have a couple guys that they could lock up. Jonah Heim should be locked up.
is he in this arbitration year for him?
It should be.
We'll check on that.
And then, I mean, you try to lock up Adolis Garcia,
what is he, 30?
Yeah.
And he's still like just now heading into arbitration.
I think he's 32, but what kind of deal do you give him?
He loves it here.
Sure.
He loves it. I mean, this is the team that did it. It's so similar to what Nelly Cruz did when he came up. He was DFA'd by someone else. He gets traded here.
He was DFA'd by the Rangers.
And he's DFA'd and so was Adolis.
Yeah, exactly.
And both of them went down. Now Adolis was called up quicker. He came back up.
He like re-signed a couple days later.
Right.
But he didn't make the team out of spring training.
Right.
And then
But
Ronald Guzman got hurt. Ronald Guzman was trying to play left field at Tampa Bay and hurt his knee.
Yeah.
And the next day, Garcia was there. He had a big game, won the game the next night, and that's it's been trending that way. I got to get in the camera. It's been,
I heard him say it yesterday. So I went over to Adolis. Someone was talking to him about, the 4 strikeouts, and then he hit the grand slam home run. He also earlier in the year had a 4 strikeout game and hit a walk-off.
Yeah.
And
against the Twins. It was in September. Yeah, it was when the game where he just like put his hands over his head and didn't talk to the media afterward because it was like an emotional situation for
He
him.
was kind of breaking out of a little funk he was in.
Yeah, yeah.
And he hit the home run. It was the walk-off, and it was huge. Let's see. If the Rangers can win game 1 against Gallen, I feel really, of course.
Yeah.
Gallen is good. And
He is good. He hasn't been
Now
he hasn't been great this postseason, but he's still very, very good.
but like someone said, the Dodgers were cold and the Phillies are free swingers. The Rangers are patient.
Yeah.
Now Marcus and Corey, they swing early in the game because they're trying to ambush somebody.
Well, I think Corey just swings early all the time.
Right.
Um,
He tries to ambush them. He's
well, he if he sees a fastball, he's going to swing at it.
Yep.
I mean, that's just, and I want him swinging at fastballs.
I'm not going to argue with what he
yeah,
does. I
yeah,
mean, but we've seen so many games where 3 pitches in, there's 2 outs.
yeah, we have, and we've also seen some games where it's 1-0 and
Yes.
and the runner at second.
Yep.
This not too worried about that. But this lineup can be very, very hard to pitch to. Can make a pitcher work. And by now, if you've watched these games, you know how they're going to get pitched. Simeon on the outside, Seager, really hard to pitch to.
He's got so much plate coverage.
Carter, I don't know that, a lot of spin, but he's not gonna go out of the strike zone. Adolis, you pitch him fastballs high in the strike zone. Garver is tough to pitch to, but he sees a lot of early breaking balls and counts. Heim, pitch him up at the strike zone too. Young, breaking balls.
Yep.
Leote's been great. Leote's been awesome down there, and very glad for him. So I think I left Nate Lowe out, and Nate Lowe has a good eye, and
He works counts good.
yeah.
Right now it's catching up to the fastball, but he has taken the ball the other way a lot of times.
Yeah.
And done well. He hit a home run the other day right down the left field line,
right
which is
off of Verlander. Yeah.
yeah. And that thing just kept floating and floating before it
Yeah.
hit.
I mean, he hits the ball hard. He's a good opposite field hitter. He was really good last year.
In batting practice, nobody hits the ball further than Nate Lowe.
Yeah, I think you're right on
He
that.
puts him further than anybody when he turns on him. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah.
And a nice guy. So prediction? I mean, what do you feel?
I mean, I think for the, I guess, second time this postseason, I think the Rangers are the favorites. I just you just look, looking on paper, they're the better team. They have more experienced guys. They have guys who do more damage. They can win in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to the starting pitching. And you don't see a lot of 15 to 12 World Series
Right.
games,
I think
and if the starters can get through 6, the Rangers have a really good chance. And
I don't think this lineup of the Diamondbacks is as feared as what Houston's lineup was.
right.
But good God, they're dangerous. They
Yeah.
can't, and when they get on base, they play smaller ball.
Yeah.
But this one thing that could be a detriment to the Diamondbacks on their small ball is the Rangers may be the best defensive team they're playing. This is a good defensive
Well,
team.
Conversely, Arizona's a great defensive team.
Yeah, they are. They're
So,
a
I
good
mean,
defensive team too.
that should be a clean, that'll be something to watch this series. Will a defense break down? And if it does, can the other team take advantage of it?
Right.
I just think the Rangers have more guys who can hurt you. And
In that lineup. Yes.
yeah. And so I say Rangers, but I'm not sold.
No.
I'm not like, oh God, I'm not betting the farm. I could see it. I could see it going the other way.
Think of any scenario and it wouldn't floor you. Say the Rangers sweep. You could see that. You could see the Diamondback sweep.
No, I can't see that one.
You can't see the Diamondbacks?
Diamondback sweep.
Okay. All right. I could. Just because I know that this team has went out and lost 8 in a row twice this year.
I know they have.
So that's why I could see that.
I don't see that one.
I could see it going 7. I could see the Rangers in 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I can also see the Diamondbacks in 6 or 7, just
I think for the Diamondbacks, they have to win a longer series. I think the Rangers could win a shorter series.
right.
But
And if the Rangers win it all, it could be good for Jeff Wilson.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's an awful. There's some things in the cooker right now, but we've got some exciting stuff that can happen. But we got to win the World Series.
Rangers need to win. Yeah, and the best thing for Rangers today is a Rangers World Series win.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I stay down the middle on my reporting, you know, and
You're a journalist and you didn't grow. I'm a fan, so
yeah,
I grew
I mean,
up there.
I root for guys, you know,
Right.
there are guys who I want to see have good series, you know, and I would love for Martin Perez to have
A World Series.
have a moment,
Yeah.
and you know, Nate Lowe with what he's going through with his mother.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You'd like to see that for him. Um, just some guys like that uh who you get to know and have known for a lot of years, and you feel good about them. So
Well, and
I root for the individual.
Well, for you
Uh,
and I, we've got a lot of kids that are coming up into the big leagues now and contributing that you and I have gotten to know
yeah,
through the
yeah,
minor league system.
right.
Evan Carter obviously came on twice. Josh Young's been on our show back when he was in the minor leagues. I mean, we've seen a lot of them. Tavares, of course, now Tavares was back and forth. We haven't had him on the show, but we've always talked to him at spring training.
Oh yeah,
What such a nice kid, and his English is good enough. He could probably do something with us and
Yeah,
have a little fun. He's gotten good. I talked to him yesterday. He's just,
yeah.
I'm proud of these guys. Look, they come to our country, they learn our language and do all of that, and they're getting good enough to start talking to us and do things. And I
Yeah.
take pride in that. I'm
Yeah.
like, the good for you for doing that.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet something, and it kind of pissed me off. I guess there was an on-field interview with Leclerc after a game, and he spoke in Spanish and with the translator, and somebody tweeted, why isn't he speaking in English? Because he can't speak English.
He can good, very well.
Yeah. Well, the fact that, you know, to be honest, these guys will speak English to the beat writers.
Sure. To you.
They when they're on national television, or if they're in a big press conference, they're still not confident in their ability to speak English, and they don't want to make any mistakes.
They don't want
That's all
to.
it is. They don't want to say something dumb,
That sounds wrong.
and they don't want something to be misconstrued. And so that's why they do it. And you
In
know,
this day today, the way people are woke and doing
if we were in
Japan, covering Japan, and we spoke Japanese some, and we knew how to speak Japanese or whatever, but we're going to feel more comfortable speaking English.
right,
And
and,
it's just
so that pissed me off.
Yeah,
But,
I don't ever have a problem with that. Look,
Yeah.
you in the day and age of people trying to get mad at everybody over different things, when it's a national stage like this, say it the way you need. That
Yeah.
translator will translate it the way you want it
Yeah,
translated.
Will's been great.
He's been fantastic, and so it's Raul.
Yeah,
Raul's good. We know Raul's a friend. We had a beer with Raul in spring training.
I've had more than one. Yeah.
You've had a few with Raul. And do that. Guys, we're going to be out there. The Rangers today is going to be out there for the game. Jeff's going on the road with this team. I want to see look, I'm going to be so unselfish here. I had a blast when they won against the Orioles, and I got to go down there and get champagne sprayed and beer.
Yeah.
And I'm able to do that if that happens. But I would my heart would feel a lot better and not palpitate as much as if you got to just send me those videos from Arizona, and I'll be there for the parade. I mean, I want to be there, but you know, I don't want to see this thing come back here for 6 or 7 if we don't have to.
I agree with you. You know,
And then we've got to get back onto the regular podcast because we got number 99 and 100, and we're thinking about doing some fun stuff on 100, probably trying to take it on the road and get somebody to come meet with us and have fun. Look, the schedules might be goofy. Some of these guys are going to take some time off, and I don't blame them. But hopefully we do have a couple people we could line up and do a little road show somewhere and come out and have some fun.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll
But
see what happens.
I think a lot of guys are going to be staying in town this off season too. I think a lot of the players are going to be working out in Arlington instead of going to various places.
They're asking, does the whole 40-man roster get a World Series ring?
If they played in the major leagues.
Only in the major leagues.
Yeah, you have to play in the
If you
major
played
leagues.
one game in the major leagues, you're part of it.
Yeah, so Owen White will get a ring.
Right.
Dustin Harris will not.
Okay.
As an example.
Right.
And then they divvy up the shares. I'm sure they've already done that.
The veterans kind of decide how it
like
goes, right?
Michael Young, Kinsler, and those guys used to do it. And they have the full shares, they have partial shares. So Cole Reagans will get a ring and a partial share. Whether it's the winner's share or the runner-up share, Cole Reagans is getting a AL champions ring and if that's all the Rangers are able to do.
or get a World Series.
or he'll get a World Series ring and probably a half share. He was with them for half the season, so
Right.
And Alex Spees is going to get something.
Yeah.
Just if you appeared for the Rangers this season, you get something.
You get something, and you get a ring. You get a ring for sure.
Yeah.
And do that. Okay, that was a good question. Let me make sure there's nothing here before we go. Can you please answer my Will Smith question? If Rangers win World Series, that's Will Smith's third in a row. Is that a record for most World Series won in a row with different teams?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great question. I forgot but last year he wasn't on the World Series roster, was he?
But he got a ring.
He does get a ring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he was with
Braves, Astros,
Yeah.
Rangers.
Oh my God.
That's
Okay.
a good point.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't
I'm
realize.
sure there's
Yeah,
somebody with
got
the
it. Rangers
who could look that up. You know, and I might be able to look it up real quick. Hang on. All right, keep talking, John.
All right. So we gotta so I have to vent here.
Oh,
but
the roster came out.
yeah, we did get the
today.
roster.
The roster,
No change.
no changes.
What we don't know for sure, and if you guys didn't hear earlier, we don't know for sure who game 2 starter is, and there is a reason why it might be Scherzer over Jordan Montgomery, but we all just feel like it's going to be Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah,
I mean, basically.
And then
I did not realize you were the one that said that Jordan Montgomery, when he came in game 7 there and gave us 2 1/3, when he walked out after he was done, he said, "I'm gassed. That's it.
yeah,
Don't send me back out." So I did not realize he was gassed and said that, because this is a gamer. I mean, he must have, you know what? That's thinking of your team. Hey, I'm gassed. Don't send me back out.
Do the best thing for your team.
And that's what Scherzer said. Scherzer said, "I felt good, but you know what? I knew we had Jordan going to come in,
Yeah,
and face that lefty and do that for us." He was all for it
yeah. These guys are. It really is all about winning here
right
And-
now.
and-
That's all they care
and
about.
all and they want to win. All right, I'm going to try to get an answer on that for
Okay.
for our
All right.
buddy here. Let me player notes from. I must have deleted them all.
Yep. Sandy Leon getting his second ring last
Sandy Leon's getting a ring, baby. Some kind of ring, some kind of share.
So is Jake Odorizzi.
That's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know about that one. He did not.
He didn't
not
play once.
once for the Rangers. Shit, he didn't even pitch in the.
And he's a
Spring
free
training.
agent now, right? Because this was his.
That's correct. So,
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna look through my trash real quick. I'm pretty curious.
Hey,
what this
Boo, you're going to be there tonight. I
is.
said,
Attaboy, Boo.
Hey, go message me on Twitter at Recliner Nerd. Let me know where you're at. I do try to get away if I can at a point and come say hello. Jeff can't with what he's got you got to watch.
I'm
Jeff
way
work.
I'm way too important.
Yeah, he's got his stuff going. He's
Way
working his
too
story while he's going. He's working the whole thing, but I can for sure. Is Sam Huff with the team?
Sam Huff was part of the
He will get
the
one.
mini camp. The minor leaguers who are working out, just trying to stay fresh. Sam apparently there's a kind of a bidding war in the Dominican Republic for him because he's going to go play winter ball, and
No kidding.
there were a couple teams that wanted him. And anyway, he's going to go down there. I
What's
think
his name's going back to? Home run king,
Blaine Krim.
Blaine Krim. Yeah.
Well, he's in Dominican this year.
Right. He played in Mexican League last year, right? Or no,
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
in Puerto Rico, but yeah, he's going to
Cole Wynn has shipped off to Puerto Rico
Really?
to pitch, and so JP Martinez is also going to play in the Dominican. Those are the ones off the top of my head. Okay, here we go. This is what I was looking for.
Okay.
Will Smith. He was on the World Series roster last year, but did not pitch.
Okay.
Um,
By the way, the question, guys, was Will Smith. If they win the World Series, this would be 3 years in a row that he has been on the World Series winning.
yeah,
team
didn't
with
have the
3 different
information.
teams.
Didn't have the information I was looking for, but
We're
I'll
trying
try-
to see if
we'll
anyone else
try to
has
track
done
that one down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
If anyone, I remember the old commercial. There used to be an old beer commercial about the kicker that was on had been on every Super Bowl team. And it was a joke about how He was on every Super Bowl team that had won up until that, like Super Bowl 25 or whatever.
Oh,
It was
really?
an old beer commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
All right.
And he was, and he, you know, he was the kicker and he would always get, anyway. Guys, I think we're going to wind this thing down.
I gotta
Look,
go back.
we are about to get back into the podcast again. We didn't want to, trying to get a guest right now. It's going to be a little hectic, and we could get minor leaguers, and we were coming up on 100, and we thought, you know what, let's just do live stuff. And we're still getting Rangers Today stuff out, do some live stuff here, but we are about to be done after next week. We'll do one more live show to summarize it all up. Then we'll get back into the regular schedule on the podcast. These live shows are all on the YouTube channel. You can check them out. A lot of good stuff on the YouTube channel that I got yesterday, walking around out there. And Jeff got from the locker room when they won against the Astros. He sent a lot of stuff, and we got it all downloaded on there. Go to that YouTube channel. It's the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe. It's free. Go to Rangers Today. Subscribe. It's $5.99 a month, $35 for 6 months, $60. You got wife and daughter going tonight?
Wife and daughter tonight.
I've got my wife and aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Going out there tonight.
Son and brother-in-law tomorrow night, and then we'll see about 6.
That's right. And hey, don't look at us like it's great. We all had to pay money to get these tickets.
These are not free.
These were not free, and my wife paid a lot. Jeff, you do get a little bit better deal, but those are expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to give tickets away like that. But a BBWA rider did get a chance to buy some for face value. That was nice.
That was nice. Yeah, we appreciate that.
That is cool. So, guys, enjoy it. We can't thank you enough for what you guys do for us. We'll try to see anyone out that game. Get a hold of us. I'll come try to say hi. But until next time, we will today. We'll see you at the yard.